Good morning, everybody. It is 8:15 a.m. It is September 26th. Not sure what I have with me today, but welcome. Yesterday, we got the bounce I talked about pre-market, right? Got that bounce. Um, it was basically just a bounce, no reversal. Just when you sell off that many days in a row, then you gap down, you usually get a bounce, just like I spoke about. But without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. Use market profile and volume profile to find structure in the market, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels in the rolling, most traded price of the year, the week, and the month, all to find structure and not to get fooled by price action, which can still fool you, right? Can still come up and grab you and fool you. As always, if you're new, please, you can subscribe, set an alert, okay? If you like what you see, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up, alright? As well, you can also follow me on X at Gonzo719. We can get right into the futures, okay? We'll get right into it. Alright, what do we have? The VIX is still pretty high, right? Up 2%. Bonds catching a bid this morning. Pretty interesting. Bonds sold off yesterday, but catching a bid today. That should push the 10-year yield down in 3 minutes. Dollar is down. Dollar's been making a move though, but it's at that resistance point I talked about still. All right. Ether down 0.16, Bitcoin's down 0.30, gold down 0.31, Dow's down 0.33, ES down 0.35, NQ down 0.36, Russell's down 0.39, silver's down 0.49, and crude is down 0.66. It was down a lot more earlier. Okay, let's move into the stocks I like to trade. Okay, like I look at the swing and day trade. All right, coin is up 0.42%. Coin backed out of its acquisition of FTX Europe. So backed out of that, so that's something that the company won't have to. That won't be a cost, a liability to the company. So then we got Nvidia. That's about all for a leader. Okay, let's go to the laggards, and we're gonna go right to the bottom. Apple's down 0.36. Snow's down 0.49. Tesla's down 0.54. Tesla is in a European antitrust probe from China exports into Europe. So that's getting looked into. Baba's coming out with that IPO. That was down more. China also didn't. Their stock market didn't do well. So that's a little weakness on Baba. It was down more earlier, but that's about what's going on there. Okay. Now let's move on to top sector stocks. All right. Oop, let me fix that. All right. So there's no leader. All right. There's only laggard, which is Roblox, Qualcomm, and Chevron. Okay. Walmart did get a price target raise. Okay. So Walmart is not up, but it's got a price target raise. Another note, AMC got a price target lowered. All the airline stocks got price targets lowered. So that transport ETF would be interesting to look at. Um, that's kind of some news there. Okay, moving on to sectors. No leader. Utilities, but that's still down. Okay. And the big laggards, discretionary, energy, basic materials. Okay, that's what we have there. Okay, I can move on to get to some news. Right, let's move on to some news. We got market news here. Now, today, we have a bunch of news dropping at 10 a.m. So get ready for some volatility at 10 a.m. I would not initiate a trade there at 10 a.m. Okay, if you enter and you have a tight stop, you're going to get blown out. This is only three, but if I go to less impact, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 news dropping. New home sales, Richmond Fed Service Index, all dropping at 10 a.m. Okay. So that's it for today as far as news. Now, well, economic calendar wise, okay, what else do we have going on? All right, we have the shutdown in Congress still going on. Time's running short. Okay, we have new video game performers prepared to strike for more pay. That's something new, right? That's really all I wanted to cover there. I talked about we had a bond sell-off yesterday. China fell yesterday. I mean, China had Evergrande and stuff like that still having issues. Okay, so that's caused that weakness in China, also in Europe. All right, but today the bonds is recovered. Right now, I can see TLT is up 1%. So I don't know if that's a buy to dip. Who knows? We have to look into that. Okay. Next, we're gonna go into daily charts. All right. Let's just do that. Let's look at the daily charts. All right, so we got that bounce that I talked about yesterday. Okay, if we zoom out a little bit, we can see here. Remember, I said over here is support. We dipped below it, recovered it. Like I said, look for a gap down, push down, and then see sellers get caught, and then that's what happened, and then we closed here. We didn't even close close to like Friday's highs, so it was just a bounce, still underneath August lows. Okay, you can see that this is last week's lows. Okay, right there, which would be this candle, last week's lows. So we are above last week's lows. That's kind of all you can look into right now. Where are we at right now? 430.88. We are like right in the middle of yesterday's range, which is not an edge there. Okay, right in the middle of yesterday's range. All right, let's move on to the Qs. Similar story in the Qs. You can see we're still holding August lows. Did not touch that yet. We still have this swing low. We did not touch that yet. Okay, I can get rid of this. Okay, we did not touch that yet. We're keep smacking against this long-term trend line. Okay, we're still under the 100-day moving average. However, if you look to the left, the SPY and the Qs don't exactly have the same setup. But the same support here is the same support, and the SPY needs to break. But this hasn't touched this swing low, so that's just very important. It's holding it. You can see we're above last week's low. Okay, right here. So that's what we have going on. And where are we at now? We are at 358.38. 358.38. Right here. We're in the middle of yesterday's range. Okay, we're in the middle of yesterday's range. So, real quickly, I could say this in any chart, but what happens with the market, right? What happens with the market is you have three phases. You have a rest phase, a test phase, and a move phase. Okay, so you can see that anytime there's consolidation, there's, in this case, a test to break out of it, and then it just tested it, kind of went back, and then the move happens, right? That's the move phase. The move phase went down here, so we came down here. Now look, there's 3 days, we're basically sideways. So now we're resting, waiting, building up energy for the next move. Is it higher? Do we fill the gap, or do we break lower? So that's how that works. That's basically what we're in now. We're in the rest phase. Okay? We're going to consolidate. It could last for a couple days. It could last for weeks. It doesn't. We don't know, right? You just don't know. So let's go to that. Let's go to that triple-headed monster. Let's talk about that 10-year yield. That spiked. Okay. So that was a pretty big spike up to 5.4, 4.5. I mean yield. Okay. Still have this gap. We're holding it. You can see that we closed up here, but we're here now. Do we come back here to last month's highs? Right? We're right now above last week, right at last week's highs. So if this keeps just going, it's going to put more pressure on stocks. Okay? That is not good. The higher this yield goes, the more attractive these yields are, and you want to get out of risky stocks. Okay, so, and then we got the VIX. The VIX is alive and well. All right, look at that. Yesterday we actually pierced last week's highs. Okay, but we closed under last week's highs. I'm sorry, this is the candle from yesterday. We went all the way up to 18, came all the way back down, closed here, but now look, we're up again at 17.34. So we're underneath last week, but we already, just this morning, because in the overnight there was quite a sell-off right to yesterday's lows, and we'll check that out in a second. Okay, so that's the VIX. The VIX is elevated. There is some fear in this market now. Okay, finally, let's look at that dollar, and I already talked about this key level in the dollar, this 105.88. This 105.88 is a very, very key level. Okay, I talked about this right here. Right here, we drew the resistance line yesterday, so this is very key. This can move all the way to 107, and the dollar, more expensive a dollar, that's not good for equities. That's not good for commodities. Okay, like oil. Oil's priced in dollars. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to my best friend, the market profile, volume profile. All right. So now, you make this a little smaller here. You can see the profile, right? Let's look at that together. And you can see, you just look at that profile, right? The last 5 days. Got nice distribution. It's pretty much in balance, right? Now, what happened yesterday? The most traded price of the week moved lower. This is what I talked about. This is bearish. Price is here. Okay. We move lower. The most traded price of the week moved lower. We're underneath that. That's bearish. Okay, but you can tell by the profile we're balanced. We're balanced right now. Okay, I mean, profile tells you, if I just had the profile, I know it'd be in balance, right? I mean, you could look at this, you could tell as well. Okay, so we're just in the middle of the muddle here. This is not very much edge here. Okay, so we got our most traded price here. Our most traded price of yesterday's here. All right, and the midpoint of yesterday is here. There's price. Look at the last 3 sessions. Almost equal lows. Now, last 3 sessions meaning overnight. So this would be overnight, Sunday into Monday. This is yesterday's session, and then this is the overnight last night. Look at that. We're just going back and forth, because we're in the rest phase. All right, and eventually this will break. Which way? I don't know. Right now, it's in a bearish posture. The market is in a bearish posture. Well, we are all a little oversold. But the more we hang out here, the more you can take a leg lower. But we are at key supports in a lot of sectors and stocks. Okay, so I don't know. I really don't know. This is what you call right now an outside in market. You trade the edges. Market comes down here, you go long. The market comes up here, you go short. Reversion to the mean, basically. Until there's a clear breakdown and you hold it. Right? So right off the bat, we have weak lows here. And this is the NASDAQ. Jesus, my bad. This is the NASDAQ, so it's probably going to look very similar in ES. I apologize for that. Yes, this is the ES. Okay, so it's not going to look much different. There's the profile. Little different. Still a balancing profile. Also, most trader price has moved down. It's at 43.70. Price is below that right now, 43.58. Same thing, right? Got these lows, got these highs. Inventory is 100%, close to 100%. This is the only long activity to all this short activity, but guess what? When you're in the middle already, that doesn't matter as much because that means pretty much you're imbalanced now. Everybody is long from here, but now they've taken profit. That's moves already happened, and you have no edge with that now. Okay, so what we do have here is basically these highs, these lows is the range. You have single prints right here in this overnight session. Okay, so if we come down here and we start to move back up, and you're gonna hit some resistance here, you should go back up there. Okay, but we're just here's the midpoint of yesterday, right? Here's price. It's just you're not in a good spot yet until you go to the edge. So really, this is going to be pretty easy today. We have a demand zone down here. Okay, down there. And what I would wait for is price to come down, have a weak low here. So you could even go boop, flush down a little bit, recover. Now, if you start seeing shorts get caught in the hole here, and you can see that in order flow with a footprint chart. So I'll see a lot of people hitting the bid, hitting the bid, hitting the bid, and they're not going anywhere. Well, then they're going to have to go back up, and they're going to get smoked. And then we're going to go right back to here. We're going to go right back to the other side. Do we break out? I don't know. I don't know. But it will definitely probably go up to the here, and this is kind of a weak high, so you'll get an extra push. Then you got two supply zones up here. Okay. Now conservatively, what could the market do? It could make itself up here, hold this, fire up as well. This is not as good because you're waiting for the confirmation over the most trader price of the week, because now you're into supply, overhead supply. You can get a move. I mean, you're a scalper, something like that. But I'd rather have this move to here and then see if you can get some runners to run for you. Okay. So that's that. And obviously, the bearish play is easy. Okay, very easy. Now, you remember, this is a big level. So I would say I'd really have to see a nice failure here. So the market could move down here, come here, can't get over here, fail. That's one. But I'd really have to see a failure here. What I would like to see is just what we saw before. It came down here, hold it, push up into this supply, and then start getting weak here, and then eventually, could we break it? Maybe, but we might even just come back and balance again. So pretty easy today. We're balancing. You therefore have to trade the edges until the edges don't work anymore, because you're going to break out eventually. Okay, you're going to break out. So same thing in the Qs. It's just more neatly packed in the Qs because these lows are more equal and highs are more equal. And I already went over this, that this moved down. So both most trader prices of the weeks moved down. We're in the middle of the range. So I'm not going to go. It's the same setup. Okay. It's the same setup. So real quickly, we can come down here, weak low here, do a little poof, recover. Then you get some shorts cut. You could test here, you could test the most trader price of yesterday. Then you got single prints in the overnights, and you go right to the most trader price. I actually like this NASDAQ setup better. You don't have the big hurdle of the most trader price of the week in your way, but however, you know what, I take that back, because 24 hours, this is the most trader price of the week. So you kind of do, You kind of do. So they're both kind of similar. All right, they are similar. All right, I just don't have it drawn here because I go to the RTH. But this is the 24 hour. All right, so that's what I see. Okay, now you have those triple top here, but you got a big supply zone right here. So like it's not just like you break out and you break out. Then you have the gap over as well. So in order for this market to come down here, break out here, you're gonna have to get through this supply, then go into the gap, which could make the move to here. Okay, for the Nasdaq. Okay, short side, same thing. If we come up to this edge right here, the most traded price of the week, and you can't break it, you're gonna go back to the other side. Okay, and if you break out of this weak high, the market does boom and fails at the gap. Well, there's supply here, and it could roll over, and then you can start going back into the range here. All right, so it's all about the edges today. All about the edges. Okay, and real quickly, I can show you in my express map and futures. Okay, so let's look at the ES. ES. Okay, every blue profile is a weekly, so week, week, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. And look what last week did. Boy, it took all those weeks out. Last week took all of them out. And then look, we went even lower. Where did we go? Look at this. See this low volume node? That's why we landed here. It's a big support level. Low volume nodes can act as support. Okay. And then we got the most traded price of this year, and a year to date is here. Look at that big node. That's 42.32. If we break lower, we are going there. Okay. And you can see the big balance that we left. That's why that big move happened. Okay. That's the ES. This is the Nasdaq. Nasdaq has the most traded price of the year, of this year, 2023, and from a year ago. Okay, so that price is right here. That is 1555, 15,550. So that's why you can just see so much volume up here. See how much volume's been traded up here? Well, guess what? We're below that now. We're here. And now each one of these profiles, right? The whites is the monthlies. So look, that's last month. We're right here now. And I showed you that on the Qs, right? We didn't breach those lows yet. In the futures, we kind of came down to it, right? But you can see, okay, in the profile to the right, all you need to do is look at this. Look at this little skinny volume. A little node here, but then more pocket. That's because there's not much there to support. So if the Nasdaq really gets blown, you probably make a little pit stop here to go all the way down to here. Okay, but this is if the market breaks down. That's 13445. There's not much support. I talked about this yesterday. You can see it right in the profile. There's not much support there. That's why I love the profile. You can look at it right away and tell. Okay, but we're holding on here by a thread. Now doesn't mean we can't just boom. Like we do this, we recover, take all these sellers out and start moving back, right? You're gonna move back, and then you can do that. So I'm not just talking about downside. Okay, just wanted to bring that up to you guys' attention. Okay. So as always, subscribe, set an alert. If you're new to my channel, subscribe. I do these every day. Okay, hopefully you take something from what I showed you guys. Okay, please give me a like if you like what you saw. And you can follow me on Twitter at Gonzo719, or X. My apologies, X. Alright, so we got our plan. It's an outside in trade. You trade the edges, okay, until we break out. and then they have to prove themselves, right? It could be a test outside and then fall back. Balance rules would be if you test out, start to come back through the range, you're going to go to the back to the other side of the range. That's how it works. Okay? So I hope everybody has a good day. All right? Stay disciplined. Remember, 10 o'clock, there's a lot of news. Don't enter a trade by that time. Okay? All right, everybody, take it easy.